Yet so far from paradise.
And guess what? It's all
by a nigga who couldn't figure, yeah, by a nigga who couldn't figure how to pull a gun trigger. Get out of here!
fault.
You're crazy. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I?
Now, before I get into this, I just want to make it clear, yeah, that not all white Brits and British people are racist.
You just think it's one extreme little group. No, it's not.
It's just that the minority, the 8%, 10% or whatever, and I say that loosely.
That few is goddamn big. I'm telling you. I'd go as far as to say, yeah, this country is pretty much 50-50.
That are still outnumber all of the black community in this country, right? So 3 million black people, 10% of 556 million, 5.6, do the maths, you know what I'm saying?
Add 759 and 496 in your head right now.
Now that's out of the way, let's get on to the aftermath of what happened after England lost out to Italy on penalties at the Euro 2020 in 2021. I never know why, I never got that, yeah? And what I'm gonna say, yeah, is to be fair, when I saw Rashford spot the ball and then take his unusual run up towards kicking the ball as he took his shot, I did think to myself, having seen it, that his focus was more on misdirecting the goalkeeper rather than hitting the target. That was just my interpretation of it. I think there are many other pundits that have different versions of what it is, but that's how it just seemed to me. You know what I mean? He went up to the ball, he's like, I'm gonna digi the keeper, and then the ball will roll in. And if he'd have just kept it on target, then you know what, all good. But he didn't focus, or he didn't concentrate enough on keeping it on target, and well, we all know the rest, right? Which then put a lot of pressure on Sakara and
Sancho, mate, please score.
For them to focus on getting it on target, in which then they played it safe or cautious, right? And then, as we saw, the goalkeeper read the kick, jumped the right way, and saved both of their goals. Saved both of their attempts, should I say? You know what I mean? But that's me.
If I throw a dog a bone, I don't want to know if it tastes good or not.
Because to me, that does not in any means, and is no way, a way to justify the amount of racial abuse and attacks online that they both received, or the three black players received that night and the following day on your social medias, your Twitter and your TikToks and your whatever accounts they have. Yeah, that tirade of abuse coming from them, unacceptable. And they claim that this country isn't racist over and over again. Well, you know what, I'll refer to my disclaimer, right? And I'll leave it for you to prove me wrong or prove me different. Because what it is that, you know, like for me, if you were angry because they missed, right, and you were disappointed that they didn't score, then it could be just a matter of that player was crap, or why did that player choose to play that stupid shot? They could have done better. Race wouldn't have had nothing to do with it. It was just that player being crap, or that player not shooting properly, or that player gets paid £150,000 a week, whatever, no matter whatever that's got to do with it. Yeah, they should have done better, and they're disappointed in that player. So to bring the race element into it, you know the rest, right? And it makes me laugh when you have the people like you.
And that's what we're missing here a lot of the time. People just see these disparities and assume racism. Well, what we need to do with all of these issues in our society is look deeper. And I think that's what this report does, you know.
Coming out here, yeah, saying that this country is not racist or he's not systemically racist, then the race report shows he's not racist, right? And I find it interesting that when situations like this happen, where it's blatantly, you can see blatantly that black people are being racially abused in such a way, they still have, they're not where no to be found. Yeah, they're not being paraded on the TV talking about this issue, right? But yet they want to call this issue anecdotal when black people bring up the subject of racism or systemic racism within this country. You know what I mean? Don't you find that interesting? Yeah, it's interesting me, boggling to me.
What's the reason that people, their first instinct is to say, look, there's a problem here, it must be racist?
So there's a few things there, Steve. I think firstly, we have a whole cohort of race hustlers.
You can suck my dick!
I kind of felt for the fans too, for the black fans too, because I didn't actually go out and watch the game, but I know a lot of people who did. Yeah, and they went to the pub or went to their friend's house, and I only can imagine. I could only imagine that when Rashford missed, there was a look.
I can't believe it.
Right. When I wish I could remember his name. When he missed.
How's he missing that? My fucking cunt. That was a bad penalty.
And then when Scar missed, those black people that were in that white environment.
Taxi, yeah!
And for me, the fact that they had some social commentators on your YouTubes.
All you black and brown people that ran to the pubs to watch this, please pack your bags and leave immediately, expeditiously, because they will look at you like, why are you in this country? And this is where it turns this is where the ugliness rears on its head, because white men don't know how to process their violence, and this is what they do. Because they don't need to suffer any consequences for it, because the vile institutional police system is there to protect them.
Who literally was saying, oh my gosh, I hope the paper's responsible tomorrow morning in reporting of the actual final result, because, you know, black people, you have to be careful out there because of the racists out there. You know what I mean? That's not the kind of thing you'd say. Right? This to me just lets me know that black people are aware of the racism. And I'm going to go on to this in a minute, right? But the fact that you've got social commentators asking black people to be careful or be aware of racism out there, yeah, or be aware on the streets going home or whatever it is, right? In a country that's supposedly not supposed to be racist, they shouldn't have to say that. They shouldn't have to say that at all, should they, really? No. Which brings me on to my other point now, or my last point, or to one of my other points, and that is, I was kind of disappointed to see how many black people were still out there who seem to be either shocked or disappointed or surprised by the actions of the British fans that were racist. And I'm not saying that, like I said, going back to my disclaimer, not all the fans were that way, but the number of fans that were, yeah, kind of exceeded what I would say, the number of people that would argue that this country isn't racist and it's only the ones and twos. And for me, them ones and twos are still way too many. You know what I mean?
Twitter said it had taken down 1,000 posts and permanently suspended many accounts.
And I think that for me, a lot of those black people who still bury their head in the sand and want to give the racist an appeasement, you know what I mean? Or want to turn the other cheek, play a blind eye to it and all that. That's got to stop.
Stop bringing us down.
And like I said before, I think they need to do that because they either work in a white environment in which most of the people they work around are white, or they live in a predominantly white area, and they're just afraid to say something because they don't want to seem to be rocking the boat. Yeah, they don't want to be seen as the troublemakers, because, you know, once you start to go down that road, even in a society or a group of white people where the majority of them claim that they're not racist, the minute you start talking about race, oh yeah, you know what I mean? And a lot of black people still don't want to challenge that, you know what I mean? And in my opinion, that needs to be stopped. Yeah, they need to challenge it every time. I'm fed up of hearing about oh, you know, if you just ignore it, it will go away, and oh, you're above that. I'm above that. I don't let it bother me. No. Because the truth is, like I've said before, yeah, the minute you start to ignore it, or you think that you think that you're ignoring it, basically the person that's doing it to you just sees you as weak, and then will either up the game or just continue to do it. But they're not gonna stop because you're ignoring them, especially when they get pleasure out of it. You know what I mean?
A black man's place is under a white man.
All right then. And then to finish off, right, because like I said, the appeasing must stop. What my real concern is, sorry, let me go through my notes. What my real concern is now is the white whisperers. You know who I'm talking about? I did a video with it not too long ago. I called it the Hateful Eight. And I call them the white whisperers. You know, your Katie Hopkins, your Tommy Robinsons, your Alex Belfields, your social commentators on YouTube with the big audiences like your Army X-Paz and them man there, right? My concern with them now is their lack of commentary.
The papers are going to have an absolute ball right now in Daily Mail. They're going to have an absolute ball right now, writing up these headlines, cussing them out left, right, center, and it's just absolutely sad to see.
On the result, especially because to me, when you watch them people, yeah, they don't hold back when it comes to berating black people.
You know, Anthony Joshua, you got anything to say about this shit? Hey? You got anything to say about what they've done to Churchill's statue? Or you think he's a racist as well, do ya? Hey? What about Little Mix? You were there, weren't ya? Hey? Will you support the defacing of our Churchill statue, do ya? Every one of you fucking celebrities. All jumping on your little virtue signalling bandwagon.
They've always got something to say when a black person, you know, whether it's Diane Abbott's or what's the name, Dawn Butler, or maybe David Lammy or someone like that. As soon as they say something, they're, oh, black people this, black people that. And if some black person is caught committing a crime or whatever, they've got a tirade, a catalogue of talking points in which they can berate black people, undermine black people at every turn, right? And for me, for them not to comment, yeah, on the fact that the 2 white players scored and the 3 non-white players didn't score, for them not to have an opinion on that coming from their racist background, that to me, that's a red flag.
Red flag.
Yeah, because the 3 black players missing would be like a golden egg to them. Yeah, just like a thief walking into a pub and seeing a mobile phone right on the edge of the table, and the person who's talking, or the people who are talking, have got their back to it, and you can see it just hanging off the edge of the table waiting to be taken, right? And that thief's the kind of thief that would rob an old lady for 10 quid out of a handbag, right? So when I see that they have not made any form of, let's say, commentary on the results, raises a red flag, and in my mind, right, means that they're up to something. They're plotting something, right? And to me, what they're plotting in their parlour groups and in their working man clubs and in their little group, because when it comes to racism and setting narratives, they all work together. Because when you listen to any one of them in the individual light, all their talking points are literally identical. So for me, what I'm thinking now is that they're just going to bide their time on this one. Yeah. And what they're doing now is they're writing certain narratives and they're writing rhetoric, right, in which they can use the result of the penalty shootout as a crutch to cloak whatever racist argument or whatever racist rhetoric they're going to come with next. So, for example, let's say that a black person wants to go for a high position within, let's say, a company or whatever, or a high position within parliament or something like that, yeah? And they say something daft like, well, black people don't deserve to get that position because they can't handle or they can't work under pressure. And then what they'll do is somehow tie that in to the result of, look what happened at the 2021 Euro penalties. Under pressure, couldn't score. And that's a black thing. Yeah, that's the sound. That's what black people in general, as a group, that's how they are. Under pressure, blah blah blah. They can't do this. Therefore, giving that black person a CEO job or a job with a big responsibility. No. We can't do that. This is what, and this is just my opinion anyway. This is my opinion. This is what they're holding back on. This is the rhetoric that they're going to start plotting and putting together and writing little narratives in which then they will pass it down to the underlings, the working man in the working man's club. Yeah, for them now to be able to use as an excuse, or like I said, as a crutch, when let's say a black person wants to argue, well, how comes that person didn't get that job? Or why didn't that black person get that benefit of the doubt? Etc, etc. But that's just me saying. But anyway, I've said my piece, yeah. And as per usual, let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm out. Peace.
Yes. Am I? Yes. Am I? Yes.